Imagine if Solana and Chainlink merged with Layer Zero all in one. That's what Supra is doing.
Today I sit down with co-founder and CEO Josh Tobkin to discuss a revolutionary new blockchain called Supra.
If I called Supra the Solana Killer, do you think that would be accurate?
This is backed by Coinbase, backed by Hashkey, working with other blockchains,
We're servicing, I think, over 60 chains right now, other mainnets.
and is the first all-in-one MultiVM Layer 1 built for super dApps.
And we have, I think, around 156 dApps on other ecosystems already using our services to power their application.
Highly recommend you watch today's entire conversation.
I think we do have an opportunity to get to $1 trillion market cap faster than Bitcoin did.
This could be big.
I actually believe Solana applications will outperform or perform better rather on Supra than on Solana itself.
This is everything you need to know about the Supra blockchain. Hit the like button to support me, and let's start, Josh, with your background.
I've been building things on the internet since I was 11 years old, actually. So it's been something that I've always been somewhat obsessed with. I'm 39 now, so it was a long time ago, like I guess 29 years or 28 years ago. Um, Time really flies. And back in the day, I was just trying to make a simple website to put up like photos of the bands I liked and just photos of like, back then I was into skateboarding and just trying to figure out how this thing works. And it was so frustrating because there wasn't that many resources out there and the internet was really slow. Um, but fast forward a little bit, my first real startup was when I was around 21, 22 years old. It was in the online poker space. It was cashback or what's called rakeback. So the players, when they play at these rooms, all the major popular poker rooms back in the day, they would actually be paying rake. This is like the fee to the house. And what we would do is we'd go to these poker rooms, say, hey, we have, like 5,000, 7,000 active daily active players. We'll bring them to your site. We want half the revenue. And then we would take, and then they would do it. And then we'd take that revenue, give it back to the player, like 80% of it. So that was the kind of model there. Uh, that I did that for several years when online poker became illegal in the United States. It was called Black Friday. I decided to sell my shares to my partner at the time. He went on to service the global region outside the United States and did very well. That experience, once I sold my shares, I had some resources to travel the world a bit, experiment with different initiatives, had some tools and like online websites that would actually go viral, to the point where it was growing, but I couldn't continue to afford to service it because I didn't have any clear business model in mind. So that was actually a very interesting wake-up call because I had to shut down one or two of the services. But nonetheless, I learned a lot just by doing. Um, Moving forward, I guess at this stage, I'm in San Francisco and I am being introduced to Ethereum in like, I guess, 2016, late 2016, early 2017. I don't really understand it. I'm in the SaaS industry, software as a service, making my own kind of cloud-based SaaS products. And in that world, you're really focused on centralization and speed and performance, low latency, one place to do it all. And I hear about Ethereum and I just couldn't really understand it. Like, why would you do it this way, And then finally, just to kind of cut to the chase, it was when I connected the dots between the fact that I used to complain to my previous co-founder in the poker startup that I feel like these poker rooms are not, and our partners and the affiliates were not paying us out properly. That our players' numbers would grow, but the revenue associated with them was not keeping track with that. But we had no recourse. We had no way to prove anything. We had to just accept the data they gave us. And then that's when I realized, oh, actually, there is a trust issue in the web. And then I took another look into Ethereum. Um, Spent once that kind of clicked for me, and also I do have an econ background, so compute building things on the web and economics. It was just something that I really resonated with, and I decided to put my SaaS product on automation and went full time into trying to solve basically how to scale Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin, but Ethereum and blockchain at large. Um, Part of that journey also exposed me to oracles. This is the same year I think that Chainlink came out, and it was very clear to me that oracles are going to be necessary for smart contract platforms to do more things. Otherwise, blockchains are actually closed loop systems. They don't communicate with the outside world. So oracles allow blockchains to speak to the outside world. Bridges allow blockchains to communicate with each other. And many of your audience may not know, but blockchains don't have an automation service, a decentralized if this or that. There's no cron job to do this. An external service, usually an Oracle service, has to do this. So, long story short, in San Francisco 2017 or around November, I had the insight into what ultimately would become Supra. And this is what we call fully vertically integrated layer one. It means a layer one with oracles, with cross-chain communication bridge, with automation, single stack, tiered security, extreme performance.
So and you kind of just got into this, but for somebody who has never heard of Supra, what is it? And is it more of a layer one like a Solana or more of an Oracle service like a Chainlink?
Mhm. You know, what we say is that when I say to like a general audience, what I say is, well, imagine if Solana and Chainlink merged with Layer Zero all in one. That's what Super is doing. So it is a Layer One smart contract platform, but also it's with native oracles. We have very good algorithms for our oracles, price feeds, cross-chain communication, on-chain randomness, and also automation. The Oracle problem is more than just price feeds. But what makes it special is it's shared security, it's low latency, it's very fast, and it's a single chain where a developer doesn't have to focus on all these external networks and juggle multiple tokens. It's just one chain that has all these tools that allow the developer to do things they literally cannot do elsewhere. Now, one last thing I should mention is our consensus algorithm itself is very, very high performing as well. Extreme throughput, low latency. So when I say low latency, that just means fast finality. So we're, apples to apples. If you were to compare Solana's algorithms to Supra's, we actually outperform them.
And that's moonshot consensus.
That's right, Moonshot. Yeah.
And as I'm like going through the crypto market in general and trying to figure out which blockchains will be here 5 years from now or be here 10 years from now, to me, it often always comes down to where will the developers choose to develop? Then they'll build the product, bring the people, and that's a healthy blockchain. Moonshot consensus is one, but like what are other reasons that developers will choose Supra over the next 10 years?
Sure, sure. So Supra being this kind of single platform, we call it all-in-one blockchain, meaning it's a blockchain with the oracles, with the bridge automation all in one. There will literally be things that developers can do on Supra, especially as we mature the full stack, that they can't do elsewhere. So they'll be able to have functionality and interesting creative ideas executed on Supra that they just cannot do on a single platform elsewhere. What's really interesting about Supra is, we view like these networks as a world computer, right? We talk about that. Now, the thing is, Supra actually thinks that we are actually building an actual world computer because, we talk about these blockchains that don't communicate with the outside world. How could that be a world computer? You need oracles for that. These blockchains don't communicate with each other unless you have cross communication protocols. So, how could a world computer not communicate with other blockchains? Right. And then also automation, decentralized if this or that. How could a blockchain be called a world computer if it cannot have automated transactions based off of various events and triggers? So we do think that Supra is kind of a new decentralized computation paradigm, so to speak. It's this infrastructure is also, we're not opinionated about the programming language either. What I'm trying to get at is Supra is designed to be a multi-VM platform. VM is for virtual machine. So right now we are running the Move language. The Sui and Aptos is the Move language. We are big fans of Move. So that this is already launched right now. EVM, Ethereum smart contracts will be able to deploy on Supra. And then in a matter of months right now, we at least in testnet, we have it in staging net. We're moving into testnet. After testnet, it'll go to mainnet. So Ethereum applications can run on Supra and take advantage of our speed and performance and native services like price feed oracles, cross-chain communication, etc. And then maybe 6 to 8 months after that, Solana SVM applications can deploy on Supra. So basically, we're program agnostic. We will let developers from many ecosystems deploy on Supra. The benefit being is that they will have these native services that you don't have elsewhere. And we also have very fast finality and we can handle a lot of throughput.
So basically, because you're compatible, whether it's language or code or whatever, with the Sui's and the Solanas and the Ethereums, as those dApp ecosystems grow, you believe they'll eventually plug into Supra because that'll be the obvious move.
Well, I think it'd be very relatively simple for them to try us out. And the thing that they can get from us that they can't get elsewhere is the native services. So, like the price feeds directly on Supra, it's not actually a different network. So, what's happening today is you have a layer one network, and then you have to go external network for the price feeds, another external network for bridge, another external network with for automation, and so on and so forth. Those disparate networks actually introduce two things. There's more latency, it's slower because you have to communicate with them. They have to finish the protocol, communicate back with you, submit the transaction, so on and so forth. So slower. And it's also less secure because that is not your layer one security. If your application uses some other component that's some other network, you have now inherited the security, the weakest component. So in our case, we have shared security. It's meaning it's all these services are backed by our layer one itself, and we also it's faster, and we frankly think our algorithms themselves are better than what our competitors are offering.
What are Supra containers?
Super containers are pretty cool. So what these are is imagine you got this layer one. It's a huge layer one that can do a lot of throughput. It's very fast. Okay. But developers want to have their own ecosystem. We've heard of app chains or layer twos, right? This is our answer to the app chain. And why do folks want an app chain or a layer two? Well, first of all, I want to make it clear that layer twos are more of an Ethereum phenomenon, right? This is mostly a result of Ethereum itself, not necessarily scaling the layer one. But app chains, that's mostly from like the Cosmos ecosystem or Avalanche subnets or Polkadot parachains, or folks that just want to roll out their own chain and set their own rules. Why would a developer want to do this? Well, they want to sometimes decide which applications can deploy. Like maybe it's an application specific chain. So developers, they typically want to have their own gas token. They might want to set their own fees. They might want to say, hey, these are the types of applications that can deploy in this app chain or such. So, and they can also have any form of decentralized governance. So containers give you all of that. You can have your own token as your gas fee. You can set your own gas fee price. You can have your own decentralized governance. But the main things you can get on Super that you can't get elsewhere is you don't have to bootstrap a network of node operators and validators in order to have your enclosed ecosystem. Now, what's really great about this Supra container, right? This concept is that you can have your own ecosystem, set your own rules, right? And unlike layer twos and subnets and parachains and these other solutions, because they exist on Supra's layer one, we have what's called composability. Composability means smart contracts can communicate with other smart contracts in a single transaction that all the smart contracts have to execute for it to be atomic, meaning that either they all execute together or one fails or it fails. Now, when you splinter off these layer twos and layer threes, subnets, parachains, you don't have this composability. These smart contracts do not necessarily compose with each other. What's nice about Supra container concept is that they exist on the same layer one itself. You can have your own rules, gas token, decentralized governance, etc. But since they are on the shared infrastructure, they can compose and interact with each other. And you can set your access policies, meaning maybe this container is only for real world assets. And maybe these are maybe because of various rules or regulations, the assets themselves need to be KYC'd and AML'd or something like this. That liquidity may not be able to touch just open DeFi liquidity where it's permissionless. So the access policies from this container says maybe we only interact with other KYC, AML, regulated DeFi containers. On the flip side, you can say maybe this is a game, and in this container, only games that we approve or that can interact with our games are allowed in here, and we also will only work with certain type of other containers. Long story short, I know that's a lot to say, but the main benefit is you can have the app chain experience without having to roll your own network of nodes and figure out how to get 100 nodes running and have them stake your token. You can still have your gas token. You can set your own gas price in your container, but you don't have the downsides of having to roll your own app chain. The last thing I want to share about this, which we're really excited about, is Supra is extreme performance, low latency, so it's very cheap, very, very cheap. Sub penny transactions, like super sub penny, like 1/100th of a penny, right, for a transaction. But in your container, suppose it's some sort of GameFi container, You could say the movement of this NFT from this person to this person, we could say maybe it's 20 cents. Let's just say that you guys price it at 20 cents, but on Supra's infrastructure, let's say it's half a penny. But that's actually a 40x markup. That's a new revenue stream for your application, for your container. So, once again, this is not a 40% markup. This is 40 times, so it's still 20 cents, but still a 40x markup. This is the revenue for the application. So we think applications are going to actually capture a lot of the value. And we think that this is going to be a very attractive model in the near future as we roll this out.
Supra's in very early stages, but what is the growth and the developer activity like today?
Sure, sure. So we actually we can call this mainnet alpha since 2023, April. We have actually launched our mainnet just like last week, a couple of days ago, and been listed on exchanges. And our so during the mainnet alpha phase, we were servicing our Oracle price feeds and on-chain randomness services to other ecosystems, other layer ones, layer twos. We're servicing, I think, over 60 chains right now, other mainnets. And we have, I think, around 156 dApps on other ecosystems already using our services to power their application. Supra's mainnet is brand new, though. We have, for our own mainnet itself, we have about, us being a smart contract platform also, we have about 183 MOUs. These are applications from different ecosystems and projects that are interested to use Supra. We have, I think, 10 applications about to deploy right now, with another 30 or so coming soon. And then step by step, having these folks as we roll out, for example, EVM support. We have a lot of folks that are EVM based that want to deploy on Supra. So it's early, but nonetheless, it's exciting. These developers are coming up with really interesting ideas on how to use smart contracts with oracles, with automation in a cross-chain setting, things that Supra will offer that you cannot get elsewhere. And some of these ideas are very, very, very interesting and creative. And once again, I think these application developers are going to be bringing the creativity and new ideas, whereas we are just bringing the tools and the infrastructure to enable them to do their magic.
If I called Supra the Solana Killer, do you think that would be accurate?
I wouldn't call it, I don't really like that term. And, we are very much early, but in terms of pure algorithmic performance, like we just have better performance, frankly. Of course, we're not as hardened yet because they've been in mainnet for a long time, and we have quite a bit to go. But if let's just suppose like apples to apples, algorithm to algorithm, and we were both at the maturity level of being in mainnet for some time and hardened, Solana should not perform as well as Supra. In fact, I say that in let's say a year from now, when we roll out the Solana virtual machine support, I actually believe Solana applications will outperform or perform better rather on Supra than on Solana itself. So these applications in the Rust code on Solana, if they were deployed on Supra, I do believe that we'll have a better user experience than Solana.
What is the use case of the token? Should we think of it like a gas token, like ETH?
Yeah, yeah. So Supra is the token of the Supra network, and it is a gas token, but it's actually we kind of call this the super token thesis, which is it's one token to do many, many things. So Supra as a layer one smart contract platform, we do need gas like Ether and ETH. On Ethereum, you need gas to transact. Similarly, you need Supra to transact. But what's interesting about what we have to offer is that Supra also has these other services. We have price feeds. We're servicing all these other mainnets right now, layer ones and layer twos, on-chain randomness. This is also very blockchains are these closed loop deterministic, very orderly systems, and perfect deterministic system. On-chain randomness is hard to get into a perfectly ordered system, right? So on-chain randomness to power games and stuff, games of chance, lotteries, etc. This is a very interesting product that has been adopted quite a lot from various projects and ecosystems that we power. That's also going to be paid in Super token. And the other services that are coming very soon is automation and cross-chain communication. All these services are going to be paid in a single token. And what's unique about Supra itself is that as a layer one, we have our own gas token, yes, But eventually, these other chains and other projects on other ecosystems that use our services will also have to pay us in Super token. And this is not, let's compare this to the kind of status quo today. You'll have a layer one token, you'll have an Oracle token, you'll have a bridge token. You splinter the value across 4 or 5 different tokens, whereas Supra is putting it all into one token for once again the super token thesis.
Josh, I'm so thankful you took the time today. I really do feel I have a way better understanding of Supra and the potential. What didn't we cover? Or just final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily Army?
Sure, sure. So, of course, I'm not going to give any financial advice here. I'll just say that this project actually started, like the kernel of the seed was 7 years ago, and we grinded through 2 bear markets. It was a very difficult journey, actually. Uh, my point here, though, is that we're not going anywhere. Uh, we love what we're doing. I highly recommend if you guys have a really like geeky, smart researcher among your friend group, have them take a look at our white papers. When I say that Moonshot consensus may be the absolute limit for classical consensus protocols in terms of performance, I'm serious. And we formally verified our safety. When I say that Super is composed of like at least 6 or 7 core primitives and like algorithms to make it work. This was a labor of love. It wasn't just one consensus algorithm. We had an Oracle protocol, a randomness protocol, cross-chain communication protocol, and other ideas. I would highly recommend that you know consider using ChatGPT. Take white papers, just upload it, give you the summary. Our overview paper is kind of the network architecture, and then the individual components and protocols themselves have their own extensive white papers. ChatGPT is pretty remarkable. It can actually understand the pseudocode as well as the kind of formalism within these complex white papers. Take a look at it, and you'll see that Super is um, it's a new type of blockchain that hasn't existed before. It's very high performing. And frankly, these early days are a great time to get involved in the ecosystem. So yeah, reach out anytime. We're going to enable use cases you just can't do elsewhere. And yeah, we're always happy to, share more. And I'm very happy to come on your show any other time if you'd like.
I definitely want to have you back. By 2030, do you believe Supra will be a top 2 cryptocurrency by market cap?
2030. Okay. Top two. So, the real game, in my opinion, is to be top three. But do we have that kind of ambition? Yes, we do. But 6 years, 5 years enough? Maybe not. Nonetheless, I I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, and people just make fun of me if I don't hit the mark. But I think we do have an opportunity to get to $1 trillion market cap faster than Bitcoin did. So, like less than 10 years or whatever it was. Um, but that is not financial advice. But frankly, let's put it this way. It is my humble opinion that if indeed our network architecture has the edge that I'm talking about, which I do believe these are fundamental like limits of physics, right? The physics of nodes, we call that nodal physics, right? We have some really great insights here, and I think these are the types of insights we have are basically um, strict limits. So every other network is going to have to run into the same, limits, speed of light limitations and such. And our techniques and strategies are just very clever to do it in a very safe manner. So very high performing as well as, decentralization and security. So yeah, prediction for the future is that I don't know where we're going to be in ourselves, but I'll tell you, in my humble opinion, I got to be very careful what I say here. Um, this is merely the beginning, and I think the crypto industry at large is going to get absolutely massive. And yes, I do think it's very natural for technology to vertically integrate, to become more integrated. And Super is leading the pack there, and we're doing it. We're the first truly integrated blockchain out there that's integrating the services that are required to actually be called a world computer. So I don't know exactly price prediction by 2030. But do I think that we have a chance to hit $1 trillion market cap? I think it's absolutely possible. It's going to take time, but I think we could also do it be faster than Bitcoin does. By the time we do it, Bitcoin's going to be probably 3, 4, 5 trillion, in my humble opinion. So, you know.
Josh, I appreciate your candor. Links for you, Supra, down below. I'll be following.